Oh, it's not just a pretty camera. I recently collaborated with Vivo on a trio of videos featuring the X80 Pro, mostly focusing on the camera tech. Now, seeing as how those were sponsored videos, I'm hesitant to call this a review, but disclosing that partnership, I still have some feelings to share on using the X80 Pro. This is a great phone. It's exactly the kind of option I wish we could get here with proper support for USA 5G bands. Now, immediately I have to point out a minor design win. When I had the X70 Pro Plus, I pointed out how the rear plate makes for a great mirror to line up selfies, but the included case blocked most of the reflective part of that camera housing. Well, the case included with the X80 Pro has a proper cutout for the full width of the camera housing. You can use it to line up your selfies. I'm kind of a big deal. But seriously, this is a refining phone. The X70 Pro Plus rocked my socks, and basically everything here is lightly refined. It's one of my favorite aesthetic trends this year. The look is textured on the back plate of the Vivo, but the feel is like a really nice soft satin on your fingertips. This looks like sandstone, but it feels so smooth. You know, it's a fun trick for the eyes and the fingers. I still have some concerns about the screen. Camera-focused phones are different animals. You know, I wrecked the screen protector on the X70 Pro Plus. It makes me anxious when the grip is so thin on the edges of curved glass. This curve is less severe than, say, an Honor Magic 4 or a OnePlus 8 Pro, but I'm still nervous when I'm rolling around in the dirt trying to get my macro shots. The screen is terrific though, easily going toe-to-toe with phones like the Note 22. Maybe the biggest upgrade over the X70 though is the fingerprint sensor. I'm really not a fan of in-display fingerprint sensors. Ultrasonic is better than most of the optical sensors out there, but what Vivo is using here and on the iQOO 9 Pro is fantastic. When the sensor is this big, it matters way less where your thumb lands and the unlock is faster and more reliable. I want a phone to be ready and unlocked and usable as I'm about to look at the screen. This is the best lifestyle and ergonomic improvement to come to premium tier phones. The sensor is so big, you can use it to launch specific shortcuts. And if you want to get really fancy for privacy and app encryption, you can set up dual fingerprints. This is all on the same fingerprint sensor. You can scan 2 fingers at the same time. This is one of those features where people kind of shrug, you know, I mean, I guess it's kind of cool, but this is probably just a gimmick because it's not on my Samsung. And then when Samsung puts this on a phone, people are gonna act like this is the most critical feature they've ever seen and it's a total deal breaker if you don't have it on your phone, which we would call hypocrisy. It's okay to admit, Samsung got beat to the punch. Vivo is getting this done. Performance has been very good, but it's not quite as aggressive as a Moto Edge Plus or a Note 22. Vivo is definitely managing the performance on their phones. We know the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 can run a bit toasty. We don't always see the fastest completion of these tasks, but the phone rarely runs screaming hot. I mean, this trades blows back and forth against the iQOO 9 and the OnePlus 10 Pro. They're all sort of cousins to each other. This is a powerful phone and it gets laptop grade work done quickly, but it rarely takes the top spot in any of the races that I set up. What is kind of impressive, I know I'm showing this on an audio editing app and not an actual game for the performance mode, but the V1 Plus co-processor does seem to have a positive effect on keeping the phone running cooler and more consistent. Now, I nerded out on the V1 Plus because of the way it processes night photos, but it's also responsible for driving the display. It's really interesting seeing solutions like this. You know, you take some of the display overhead off of the main SoC and you run it from a dedicated co-processor that helps the 8 Gen 1 run a little smoother. And that has a positive impact on battery life. Now, we're under 5,000 milliamp hours for this phone. I wish we could just tick up to that proper 5,000 number, but we should expect slightly less runtime when we're away from a charger in general, especially after having used phones like the iQOO 9 Pro. I'm reluctant to comment much on the screen on time because this doesn't have proper 5G support for USA carriers, so your mileage will vary a lot. When I know I'm gonna shoot a lot, I tend to throw it into airplane mode for short periods of time. We've got big cameras, big photo files, high quality video while running radios, and a super bright display. That's gonna do more than sip your battery away. The flip side is how nice it is to have 80-watt charging to top off quickly. You plug it in for minutes. It's minutes on a charger will get you hours of runtime out in the field. Yet another area where Vivo is just crushing, and it makes Samsung's claims of super fast charging kinda silly. And the software has been solid. We don't see the same flurry of updates that we might see on an S22, but Vivo's FunTouch OS has been steadily improved. Now, it steps away from material view. It uses the smaller icons in our notification shade. It's called FunTouch, but it's not as bouncy or as vivid as, say, MIUI on a Xiaomi. But the security patches over the last month have been on time. We got the June security update and the Play Services update before Samsung did on the S22s, so I'd say currently we're in pretty good shape. And wrapping this up, I think it's just critical to look at global competition. I'm less concerned about coming to some sort of buy or don't buy verdict in this video. The more time I spend with different phones, the more I see where these differences matter. You've probably heard me ramble on about stuff like this in prior videos, but when we boil down phones to overly simplistic, average consumer, basic use, we miss all these great ways that they're improving. And these fun differences, they should help people find a perfect fit gadget, not just a good enough for my text messages and my Snapchat kind of gadget. Especially as prices climb and we approach the premium tier, these nuances are even more important. If you're talking average consumer, you can pretty much stop at around $400 on a phone these days. The X80 Pro is really fun. It's a great camera platform that I've been leaning on heavy for the production of my videos, but it's also a very well-rounded premium tier pocket computer. If you want gadgets like smartphones to be more entertaining, you have to do more than pay lip service to competition. You gotta go and find the fun. Now, this video was not sponsored or is not part of my collaboration with Vivo. Like I said, I had some thoughts on this phone, but I will link that trio of videos, camera tech. We have an introduction to the cameras. We've got a video just focusing on the features and improvements to the camera sensors. And then I pit the X80 up against one of my really nice mirrorless cameras to show you optical performance to optical performance, how phones are even better stacking up against, standalone camera hardware. All of those videos will be linked down below, and I will, of course, leave some other links where you can find more information on the Vivo X80 Pro, maybe shop one of these bad boys online. As always, thanks so much for watching, for sharing these videos, subscribing to the channel. All of the support lately has been absolutely fantastic. Those of you who are clicking on the links underneath my videos, if you're shopping some merch, if you've hit up my home site, SomeGadgetGuy.com, or if you've joined the list of names scrolling by your screen from my Patreon, patreon.com/SomeGadgetGuy. This list is basically the coolest collection of tech pals in the universe, so I hope you'll check them out. Now, you know where you can find me around the rest of the internet at SomeGadgetGuy on the Twitters and the Twitch, not so much on the Facebooks or the Instagrams, but I will catch you all on the next video.